Back in the studio with another episode, man. This one we're gonna go into, some of the choices and some of the options that are out there that some women choose, and I think a lot of it is based on attention, and obviously, money can be made in this topic that we're gonna discuss today. But before we get started, man, like, comment, subscribe. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to get the views up, and as always, if you have any feedback, make sure you comment below. And also, if there's something that you would like to hear discussed on the Real Oz podcast, man, make sure you leave it in the comments below, and we'll take that into consideration for any upcoming episode. So, Jay, what's the direction we going today, man? What's the question?
Question, like how do you feel about girls who do OnlyFans, or you go on their Instagram, they have like the link tree or linked up, LinkedIn in their profile, private parties, private, you know what I mean? Shit like that. Like how you
Okay.
feel about that that situation, but
No,
people.
yeah, I hear what you're saying. So, me personally, like, I feel like it's driven from attention, but like the level that they willing to go. Because as we all know, OnlyFans is like there's different OnlyFans. There's like OnlyFans if you want to see explicit, like sexual content. You can have an OnlyFans if you trying to get people to DM you certain things, or not even DM, but to like request certain things, or but a lot of it is driven around like attention and like sex. Let's just be real. So for me, like, I think it all comes from, for one, like being over motivated by money, because it's almost like a form of like pornography, or prostitution in a sense, even though they're not necessarily on the corner and it's not random people, but then some accounts may be. I don't know. Me personally, I've never like tapped into anybody's OnlyFans. So I mean, there's only so much I know from the outside looking in. You know what I'm saying? This is more of based on like the reasoning why. So I mean, for me, it's definitely money. It's definitely like an attention thing, and it's almost like a fad too, because you have some girls who do the OnlyFans, and they doing it because they heard somebody more popular in that scope has made this type of money. So obviously they chasing the bag, and they feel like it's a safer way than necessarily being out there, sleeping with random dudes or exposing themselves to random people. But it don't always work how they think, because some females will expose themselves, put their bodies out there and all that, and then it's like they don't make the money they thought, but it's too late to retract from what they already exposed the world. It's just like you click on somebody's Instagram and the first thing you see is cheeks. She bent over. But then if you run into them, they looking for a certain level of respect, or they want to be approached a certain way, but it's kind of like you already put yourself out there in not certain standards. I mean,
Sure.
what you think about it?
Nothing I can disagree with you what you said. It's just more so like I'd be wondering like why, like if you see like if you go on Instagram, a lot of times, like when I go on Instagram, like I'm not following girls like that. I'm not on my flirt page, and I sometimes often see it a lot. Like girls having like the memes about their OnlyFans, and like memes is like, oh, would you rather fuck me, or would you rather have $15,000? You know what I mean? Like little shit like that. It's
Right,
like
right.
I always wonder like what makes girls think that's like, I don't I mean, not to say attractive, but like okay, I guess maybe in a sense. Like what makes you think that's like cool to do, or what makes you think that's like
I get what you're saying. I think that's because
well, like you said, like it's a fad, right? It's
society. Yeah, I was gonna
like
say like society has normalized like
Showing your body off and shit.
showing your body off, and I mean that comes from wanting certain parts of your body enhanced and all that. Like that's become something that women go after. And we did an episode before about like the BBLs and stuff, but I think that's more of a personal, like, I'm gonna just call it what it is. I think that's more of a like personal dislike. You know what I'm saying? There's something on the inside that's driving them to get this attention, and it's like that's the easiest way for them to get attention. You know what I'm saying? The easiest way for them to get attention is to be bent over on Instagram, to be, what I'm saying, teasing people with certain things because they know, like, from the beginning of time, sex is gonna always sell. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I think they feel like it's safer. Like I started off saying, it's safer than being on the corner, but it's not really too far from the whole like soliciting sex. Because that's basically what you're doing. You soliciting yourself for money, you know what I'm saying? Lowering your standards for money. And it's like society has made it to where a lot of females think that that's the only thing that's gonna get a man. You know what I'm saying? It's them bent over, them, you know what I'm saying, twerking on film and all that. And lo and behold, I know a lot of men in my age group and even in your age group, we don't want that.
Yeah,
I'm not going
long term.
Yeah, not long term. I'm not going to deal with a girl, even short term. I'm not going to deal with a girl if
one night. I mean, I think it's short term. That's what I mean.
No, yeah.
I mean, yeah, short term for sure. I mean, long term, like
for sure.
marriage, me get on one knee to propose to you. Well,
nah.
Me even, taking you serious as a girl or even claiming you, like no one wants to claim you.
Right.
You know what I mean? No one wants to. I take that back too, because there are a lot of simps out here that will claim you, but no guys that I feel like you would be attracted to would want to claim you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think the standards have been lowered on both sides, like for the male and the female, because females are only successful in that because men have lowered their standards and made that like okay.
Yeah.
If most men wasn't okay with that, and we was trying to redirect like how women are viewed, then I don't feel like that would be something that they can make all that money off of. Because growing up, that was always like a secret thing. You know what I'm saying? Pornography, whatever. Whoever was doing that, I mean, if the world found out because they became popular, then that's one thing. But they wasn't necessarily just advertising it.
For sure.
Like females today, they just advertising it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then they at some point in time they want to be taken serious, but it's kind of like,
yeah,
like you said, I can't take you serious because you willing to, show everybody what you're working with, and you leaving nothing to the imagination.
Yeah, I met a stripper one time, and I remember she was telling me a story how some dude came in, her job, got a lap dance for her or whatever. She said that he asked for a number, she gave it to him because she was feeling him, and then he took her out to dinner. And then after dinner, she was like, "Oh, he just expected me to like fuck him." You know what I mean? He's like, "Why would he expect that?" She's telling me this in the back of my head. I'm just like, "Yeah, like
she don't even,
yeah,
right?" She's a
like,
disconnect.
He met you at the strip club, like, yeah, I mean, he already saw your titties. He already saw, you know what I mean? He already saw everything. So like, why would he not expect to? You know what I mean? So I feel like maybe it's I guess it's not miscommunication, but it's like a disconnect.
It's a disconnect
between the two. You know what I mean? The two. So I feel like that's a problem. And like you said, like it's partly on guys too. We're supporting it. You know what I mean? Us, like not us. You know what I mean? Guys who buy it, like we're buying it. I feel like guys buy it because we just want that instant gratification. You know what I mean? We're not necessarily supporting you. We just want that instant, you know what I mean, gratification. But on the flip side to it, when girls see someone buys it, it's like they feel supported. They feel like, oh, you know what I mean? If they're starting OnlyFans, that's their business. You know what I mean? And when guys buy it, it's like they're supporting what I'm doing. You know what I mean? But it's like, Like, would you consider that like? Yeah, I wouldn't consider that supporting. Like, you know, if a guy was to buy a girl's OnlyFans, like, I wouldn't consider that. So,
Nah,
like,
I don't.
technically, yes, because he's buying your OnlyFans, but it's like he's not supporting. You know what I mean?
He's not right. He's not buying it because he's
like if you started a cooking business, you would not. All those clients wouldn't really. Some of them would, you know what I mean? But even that, they would do it just to try to get, you know what I mean, get to you or get closer to you, whatever. So it's a different type of support, I guess. It's like hoping something comes from this type of support, you know, not like you sell cookies, I'm gonna buy, you know, a batch, and I'm not
right,
expecting nothing from it. You know what I mean?
right,
Compared to like,
right,
yeah, I'm gonna take you on this date, and yeah, I
right,
expect to fuck after this shit. You know,
right,
so.
right. And I think that's where the you know, like we always hear like money can be the root of all evil, but it's not really the money, is what you're willing to do for the money.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, like the fact that even if it's not OnlyFans, just like a content creator that's all she doing is twerking, all she doing is in
Yeah,
bikinis, all
shaking
she
ass.
doing is,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, shaking ass, all she doing is, you know what I'm saying, showing cleavage, showing the breast, whatever. Then it's kind of
Hmm.
like, you know, you stoop down to the ultimate level of, you know what I'm saying, like lowering your own self respect
For sure.
for the bag, quote
Yeah.
unquote. And it's like it's gonna come a point in time to where, you know what I'm saying, like that's not gonna be that's not gonna be nothing that you want to like advertise. You know what I'm saying? Because it get to a certain point to where, okay, you made all this money doing this, and it's like, now what? You older, your body don't look the same. It's just like for a stripper or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like strippers, I get it. You know what I'm saying? This ain't to knock nobody hustle, because I get it if that's what you know, feel like is the best move for you to get money to. But if it's for a purpose, you know what I'm saying? It's just like hustling back in the day. You used to hustle, or you know what I'm saying, get your sack or whatever to make bread, to get certain things, or to be able to establish yourself in this. You wasn't hustling just to be hustling
Hmm.
because you felt like, oh, I'm gonna do this forever. Any smart hustler know it's a hustle. So I'm gonna do this and to get to this point, and then once I get to this point, I'm gonna make it legit so that I can, you know what I'm saying,
Hmm.
so that I can really level up and have something that's you know, not necessarily illegal or not frowned upon. You know what I'm saying, in that light. So I feel like the females that, you know, subject themselves to that and that's all they selling, it's kind of like it's a it's a personal thing, man.
Why is that not obvious though for like a girl? Like I said, the stripper that I used to know, like when she told me the story, she told me the story like she couldn't believe this guy was so, you know, like, oh, he just wanted to fuck after he took me on a date. And then in my head, I'm thinking like, well, of course, you know what I mean? Like, so like, why is it so
I see what you're saying.
why is it like
I think I think it's a like somewhat of a disconnect because the
you call that a
image,
disconnect?
yeah, because you got to think like this. Just like that story you was telling about the stripper, her image is disconnected from the reality in a sense to where she's only doing it to make money. But then when she's out of that space, she wants to be viewed as somebody that's not easy.
Yeah.
Somebody that's not just going, you know what I'm saying, be taken to dinner and now she giving it up. So yeah, it's a disconnect to where the image, they putting the image above like, you know, like I don't want to say what.
When you say image, like you mean their image
Like
as
the
a
image,
stripper?
just think about like image image is everything to some people, to where they rather look a certain way than actually be a certain way. They rather look
Would you
successful than actually be
would you
successful.
compare that to the same maybe the same thinking? Like I'm pretty sure you've seen that video where they asked like a whole bunch of guys and a whole bunch of girls. They asked like all the guys like, would you rather like work not plumber? He said like would you rather work like in the sewers, you know, like the stinky sewers, like making 100K, or would you rather have a high prestigious job and not get paid anything? all the guys said, shit, sewer, you need a sewer job. Another girl was like, oh, I'd rather have a prestigious job and not make money. It's like, that's what you're trying to say?
Right,
Like,
because they put image above the reality. And that's just like, with the Flash and whatever. I think that's why they do the BBLs and all that other stuff, because you gotta realize, like, to me it's a distraction. You trying to attract me to that because on the inside it's not a whole lot of substance. You feel what I'm saying? So you want me to be distracted by what I see and what I can touch and what I can feel, but then it's like when I get to talking to you and you open your mouth, then I really see, like, you're an airhead, or you really don't have nothing that
all you know is stripper talk.
no stand. Yeah, all you know is stripper talk.
All you know what niggas and girls talk about is strippers. You don't know what nothing talk about nothing else. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's like the same thing we see, like, with like a lot of the young generation. You know what I'm saying? It's all flash, it's all bling, but it's not a whole lot of substance. You know what I'm saying? They get the bag, they run it up, and they go buy all this material stuff to look like they on a level that they not really living on. And I feel like
that reminds me of when I popped the balloon. And the girl, she was 40 years old. She was like, "Oh no, I'm 40, but I'll look 40, so I can't be with you because you look
your age.
I don't look 40, so I should be with somebody." You know what I mean? And it's more so. I feel like what I'm talking about right now, like the mindset of like people like that. It's like I don't. It'll be hard for me to fully understand. I understand like the image and like someone like her. It's like, why would she think?
Because somebody done told her that. Somebody done told her enough times, "Oh, you 40? Oh, you don't even look 40. You look," you know what I'm saying? So the image that people, the image and the like the illusion that people is feeding her overpowered the reality. Because when we looking at it, no, you look 40.
Yeah, you got that makeup on.
You got that makeup on. You know what I'm saying? We can see through all that. Like, you don't really look how your attitude and your demeanor is like portraying. You look, you know what I'm saying? And now it kind of looks
and
foolish.
now that like your surrounding and your environment is going to dictate like your thinking. You know what I mean?
So yeah, for sure.
If if you're, I think females don't understand. It's like what percentage of niggas who go to the club are trying to just fuck a bitch? Like 70%, maybe 60 to 70?
I would say 60 to 70.
60 to 70? Yeah, I'll say that. You know what I mean?
60 to 70. You got your element of cast that's there just to get out, just to unwind.
For sure,
you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
But, like the lurkers and the predators.
But I'm saying, like, if you're a female and you're going to like that female, right? She worked in the club. I mean, so every day she even said, "I'm in the club every day." So every day you're in the club with 60 to 70% of niggas who just want to fuck. You know what I mean? And like you said, like you're hearing this every day, but it's like the people you're hearing it from is, dudes you're probably shooting down, dudes who've been in your DM, dudes who trying to take you out, and dudes who go to the club a lot. So they're not, it's not like, it's not like I ain't say like high value, but you know what I mean? It's not like you're not going to a doctor's office and you're not going to like a Ruth Chris Steakhouse with like people who are really doing stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
People who like businessmen who really got things going, who really got motion. You know what I mean? Not again, like those aren't the people that are telling you, oh, you don't look 40, oh, you look, you know what I mean? It's
you're not.
It's the flashy dudes that's just trying to fuck something. Oh, man, you look good, man. 40
you're
years
not
old,
really
man, take you out.
Right. You're not really being examined by, like, I say, like, a qualified audience.
Yeah, exactly,
you know what I'm saying? Because the audience that's examining you and that's putting you up on a pedestal,
3 Hennessy shots.
They mind, you know what I'm saying? They mind don't go past what they can see.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And what they can see is only, like you said, for the night, whatever, that's all they looking for.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I think the disconnect is to where the female don't realize, like, she's fulfilling that image, even though in reality, she wants to be, you know what I'm saying? A wholesome girl or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like even the females that say, I only do this for money, or I only do this to get the bag or whatever. It's a part of them that knows, like,
you saying right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody has a certain like a righteous nature. We all born with that.
yeah,
You know that ultimately, like this ain't right, and that's
yeah,
why you got to stay full off the Hennessy. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, especially inside of like a club environment. Now at
yeah,
home, personally, you doing OnlyFans and all that, and you in front of the camera by yourself. Then I mean, I guess if you want to say that's a little bit more reserved, but
yeah. Really.
it's open to whoever willing to pay for it.
Yeah, I don't think that's more reserved.
Any and everybody can see it.
Like if a girl, I feel like if a girl goes out like to the club all the time and she has OnlyFans, and a girl who sits at the house, more reserved has OnlyFans. Um, I just feel like one of them was lazier than the other one at that point. You know what I mean? It's like you still want the attention. You know what I mean? The one girl, she's going out to the club and she got it. You stay at the house and hoping, so it's almost like you never like work now. Let's say working for it, because I don't think girls really have to work for sex, but it's like, you're not. You're just putting your pussy out there. Putting your titties out there for niggas to see. You know what I mean? And yeah, it's gonna be a time where you might meet somebody you actually like, and he ain't going for
Right.
that
You
shit.
are you already put yourself out there as, and
He
that's
ain't
where,
going for that shit.
right, and that's, I think that's where the disconnect is at. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like you're not making that money or chasing the bag to be single or just have a poodle and a couple cats in the
yeah,
house keeping you company.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like that come from like the last episode we was talking about game. Everybody wants somebody.
for sure.
So it's like the game that you running on that level of doing those videos and whatever else you're doing, just, popping it all the time, every time somebody come to your page, then I mean, you only gonna get so much. You're only gonna get a certain caliber of a person. You're only
Yeah,
gonna attract certain people.
yeah,
And, a lot of times the women are doing that, I think, to attract that high level dude or that high level thinker, and it's like he's scrolling right past that. Like
yeah.
that's not what he don't even notice that because
None of that though, but like we were saying earlier, right? Like all you know is stripper talk. All you know is hoe talk. You know what I mean? So let's say if you do get positioned to be in front of, let's say your celebrity crush, you know what I mean? He's gonna start asking you questions. And I'm not even saying questions like, oh, what do you do for work or nothing. He can just ask you random questions like, oh, what do you like to do, or what do you like to, you know what I mean? Like your thought process and your mind, you're gonna, I mean, you don't have to like I put like this, like if I was to talk to a girl who did OnlyFans, I didn't know nothing about her past, I didn't know nothing about her. If I was to talk to a girl, it's like a lot of times I can tell, like just by what they're saying, like I can tell that
oh yeah,
they're hoes. You know what I mean? By what they're saying, and they're not telling me they're a hoe. They're not telling me they hang out with people. They're just like this. Like you said, they have no substance. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, like, where have you been? Where you travel? Like just anything you kind of talk about. It's like the responses you'll get from them. It's like, hell, is it, you know what I mean? It's like I can't really talk to you about nothing. You know what I mean?
yeah, for
Like,
sure.
what's your views on politics? You know what I mean? Like, you don't got no views on politics. You don't got no views on sports. You don't got no views on, you know what I mean, life. You know what I mean? If I ask you, like, any general knowledge to
No,
help,
yeah,
you know what I mean, to have a conversation. You know what I mean? If we was to have a strip on the podcast, like, what would you talk about? Like, what would you say? Like, how can you help somebody? How can you? Yeah, I mean, you don't really have that.
right. Unless she was a like one of the few who may actually be doing
Grinding, really
that,
doing
grinding,
something,
hustling, and going to
has
school,
goals
and
behind it.
right.
Yeah,
But otherwise, like the language is going to determine the level that they at,
yeah,
and
language.
everything
Yeah,
that come out of their mouth is going to really dictate. Even if they trying to portray a certain persona, you know what I'm saying? Just how they speaking and how they talking,
yeah.
their energy, it's only going to resonate so far.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that it's just gotten like society has got so like it's so crazy to where like growing up in my day, a female, a female would take offense to if somebody called her a hoe or whatever. I've heard females saying, you know what I'm saying, in this day and time, I might be a hoe, but I'm an expensive hoe, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
a good hoe, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, what?
Mm-hmm.
What? Like, okay, so you okay with, you know what I'm saying? You okay with walking up under that title as long as you got a few dollars and you able to, you know what I'm saying, feel like you put yourself above certain other women or whatever because of what you're doing. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's crazy work right there.
Hell yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I think the whole I come from an era of where I grew up. I used to see, and still to this day, I can go back to my old area where I live in, and you know, it's a real blade.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like the boulevard, it's still a real blade. You still got real, you know, hookers or you know, prostitutes for lack of a better word that's out there soliciting and they selling it. But
Shit, went 5 minutes from here.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
5 minutes
But
down the
they, you
street.
know what I'm saying? They may be like under a different umbrella because they not working. I mean, they working actually for somebody. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna get into all that. And I think that's where the females feel like it's a difference. Well, I'm doing almost the same thing. I'm not sleeping with random dudes, but I ain't got no pimp, so I'm not doing the same thing they doing.
Yeah.
But it's like
Yeah.
ultimately you are. You just in a different arena.
Yeah.
You're just not on the corner. You're not out there, you know what I'm saying, with no clothes on the corner for anybody driving by. You on the corner of Instagram or whatever for anybody that's willing to pay.
Like the same
to
thing,
see.
like you know, with back in the day, we used to go to the stores to go shopping. Now, everyone does shopping online. It's not, you're the same. You're the same. It's just you're Amazon now. You're not TJ Maxx or Target no more. You just switch to Amazon. You're doing the same thing.
You're doing the same thing.
It's online now. Everything's online. I can order your pussy now. I can order that shit now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't gotta go physically there. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing. Right. At least guys view it the same. It's no different. You know what I mean? Like, in my mind, the stripper and the girl who has OnlyFans. I mean, maybe because some girls they don't not like having sex on OnlyFans. Maybe they have a boyfriend that they have sex with or something, or whatever. But
yeah, but
it's the same level.
But still,
it's
the same level. Like I said, you still exposing your vulnerable self, you know what I'm saying? At your lowest, no clothes on, whatever you're doing, even if that's your dude and that's what y'all doing, you know, and letting the rest of the world see and pay for that. It's kind of like, you know, how how is that supposed to end up? Like how is that supposed to turn out? You know what I'm saying? Like that's short lived, you know what I'm saying? And
what would you tell like a young girl who was like thinking about doing OnlyFans or something? Like, what would you tell them? Maybe not necessarily to try to prevent them, but just tell them like the long-term like effects that come with it. Or
I mean, I would just kind of spin it on them that like you can always make more money thinking than working, and that's like in anything, you know, like even this, like we barbers or whatever, but like you can make more money like using your brain in the sense to where you set up multiple shops, you got hair products, you got all these different things. You can make more money doing that than physically standing up and working all day. You know what I'm saying? So that's the same thing. Instead of laying on your back and doing all that, you know what I'm saying? Like you make more money with your mind, you know what I'm saying, any day than with your body, because your body and the physical, you know, the flesh is only gonna take you so far.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The mind is gonna always supersede because everything starts in the mind. So if that's what's on your mind, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make all this money doing this, then it's kind of like you might want to rethink, you know, or think it through fully, because that's not the best avenue of approach. And it's like we were saying before, eventually you're gonna want somebody, you know what I'm saying? And then you get to a certain point, it's kind of like you use goods. You got miles on that thing.
Yeah.
Nobody.
No, that though, I feel like if it was ever a time like later on in your life to where you had a chance to have like a prestigious position in the
they're gonna dig that up.
That shit gone. That shit over with. You know what I mean? You got
do that
OnlyFans, your titties out. It's like we can't hire you. You're not a good representation of our company.
for sure.
You know what I mean?
Because women get scrutinized for less. Just think about like the last election when Kamala Harris, they was digging up the fact that she was dating, certain people, and you know what I'm saying, hanging out with certain people, and it's like she wasn't even
tarnish your image,
soliciting herself like that. But they found a way to make that look bad on her behalf just because, you know what I'm saying, she had been in different relationships with different people, and it's kind of like, if they do that on that level,
imagine what they gonna do to you.
Imagine what they do to you if you actually in the nude, everybody see what you're doing, and it's, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it's just got so far away from like
I was more so thinking though too, like for example, porn star Mia Khalifa, you know.
I heard that name before.
Yeah, she's like a little Indian girl. But anyway, she was on the, I think she was an interview or something. And she was telling a story how she had a meeting with like some prestigious men, you know what I mean? They were talking about, I don't think it was no porn, you know what I mean? Some business shit, you know what I mean? And then a fan came up to her, you know? Dude came up to her, he's like, "Oh, can I take a picture of me? Can I take a picture?" She's like, "Oh, I'm busy right now, you know? I'm busy right now." And I guess the way she like kind of like shut him down, that guy was asking for a picture. His girlfriend got mad, and she came up. She was like, "Oh yeah, I don't think that's her. She don't got enough cum on her face." And then, mind you, she said something like that, you know. And mind you, she said something disrespectful like that, and she's in a meeting with these two prestigious men. It's like you can't even go to lunch, you know what I mean, to have a meeting with some, you know what I mean, potentially. And then she said, you know, like, you know, after like 5 minutes, she went to the bathroom and she started crying because she's like, damn, you know, like people still. People still gonna, you know what I mean? That's attached to you for the rest of your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. I was just gonna say that.
Like for example, like let's say P. Diddy, right? You know what I mean? I know it's not, I'm just saying, like, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, for this conversation, let's say P. Diddy was innocent of everything. He didn't do nothing wrong. You're still gonna have that label on you for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? For the rest
it don't matter.
For the rest of your life, you're still gonna have that label. So if you actually did do it, oh yeah, that's always gonna be attached to you. You know what I mean? And you never know what room you may be in. You know what I mean? Or who you may be around with. You might have kids. No, you might have 2 daughters. You know what I mean? Later on, 10 years from now, you know what I mean? Like you're doing OnlyFans now, you might have 2, 3 daughters later on in life. You know what I mean? And let's say you at Disneyland with your daughters. You really want some random pervert come up to you. Oh, you that one girl on OnlyFans?
Yeah.
You miss Fire Red. You like, and then now your kid's looking at you like, "Mom, what are you talking about?" Now you gotta do the Kim Kardashian thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure her daughter figured out. She used to be famous. You know what I mean? Like,
and I think that's why
you have to explain. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to do some explaining. You know what I mean? I feel like the hardest thing would be to explain to like your kids or your family or you know what I mean, something like that. So yeah,
I know like a lot of women in that situation, they probably just living in that moment. But we got to realize like the things we do today can either open or close the door for tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So it's like like you said, you can't take that jacket off. You can be 30 years down the line and some people is just going to only refer to you as that person that did this, even though it was that long ago. So it's one of those things where like we can change our personality and we can change, like level up on our character and our habits. But sometimes it's hard to, change your image once people see you, once people have you in a certain view and a certain scope. They're gonna always view you like that, regardless of some of the changes that you may make. So I think,
and it's funny too, because it's like even you can make really hard changes, but like I said, it's like that's still gonna be labeled to you. You know what I mean? Kind of like, for example, like Cardi B, right? Before she was popping, she was a stripper, and now she's popping. She's a famous entertainer, singer, whatever, rapper. But people still can remember her and relate to her as a stripper. So I used to be a stripper, like you don't know that respect level. It's like no matter how much money and fame and prestige you get, it's like you still have that jacket on you. You know what I mean? So you're not gonna be able to take that off. Yeah. I mean, and it's funny. I was telling my girl one time about the difference between like guys messing with a lot of girls and girls messing with a lot of guys. You know what I mean? And then I told my girl, I was like, thinking about someone like Future or Drake. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure they mess with a whole bunch of girls. They can find a wife tomorrow. You know what I mean? They can find a wife tomorrow. Um, and there's a lot of girls who'll be willing to, be their wives. You know what I mean? And be good to them. You know what I mean? And then you have someone like Kim Kardashian. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of guys who would not wife up Kim. If they had the chance to, they wouldn't wife up Kim. I wouldn't. I don't know if you would. Like I don't think you would. Like to wife her up. Like I'm gonna claim you as my wife, even though you're prestigious, even though you're a billionaire, even though you're very successful and everything, and you made a lot of good things. You did a lot of good things for the jail and all that stuff. Still, it's like Ray J.
Yeah.
It's on the internet too. It's like
No,
no, I mean I can't. I
for
can't.
real. I heard this. I don't know if it was a podcast I was watching. I think it was a podcast I was watching, and they were saying how it's a double standard, like kind of like what you were saying, how like a man that's been with multiple women is not looked at the same as a woman that's been with multiple men.
Not at all.
And his analogy behind the whole thing was, and I think it was kind of clever. He was like, take a glass of water. You know what I'm saying? If you stick your dirty hand in that water, then you know what I'm saying. Ultimately, you can't drink that water. That water is no good.
You don't want to.
But if you stick your dirty hand on the outside of the glass and you hold it, you can always put it in soap and water and clean it, and what you have inside is still safe to drink.
Exactly.
So it's one of those things to where the makeup and anatomy is different, to where a man can kind of cleanse himself in a sense, but a woman, because she her makeup is different. There's a part of of everybody's DNA that she's sharing and she's spreading, like you know what I'm saying. And I just thought that was kind of crazy, but it made sense though.
Yeah, I think it was the same thing. Like I'm not sure if it was either Holly Berry or J Lo. I think it was Holly Berry. I think J Lo's with the old boy Ben Affleck, but I think it was Holly Berry that she was like, she's like 50 or something, pushing 50 or maybe pushing 60 or something, and she was not complaining, but like kind of sad and about like how much older she is and she can't find a man. You know what I mean? Like, can't find a good man. And it's like you think about it, like Holly Berry, like like what Denzel Washington is to girls back in the day, or what I mean. Holly Berry was that to niggas. You know what I mean? You can't find a man. You know what I mean? So you go go through life. And mind you, she didn't. She didn't. I don't think she had an OnlyFans, or I mean, I'm pretty sure she had an OnlyFans. I don't think she did porn. I don't think she did none of that. She's just been with a lot of guys. I'm pretty sure.
She did that. Not to put her out there, but she did that movie. What was it called? I think Monsters Ball, where they was talking about her. Like this little sex scene she had with Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh,
like you know what I'm saying?
You saw she was like naked in the movie, or not fully naked, but half naked or titties?
She was half naked, but like the whole scene, it just seemed so real, to where it looked like he was probably really in them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's we know good acting, and then we know like, oh no, it's an element of realness to that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I know that's neither here or there, but I know that's something like she may be judged for to certain people who are in her circle, or in her that may have once pursued her or whatever, but now they kind of like I don't know. But I mean that's all people's opinion. You know what I'm saying? But as far as the OnlyFans thing go, I would just say to the girls that may not necessarily be in that realm, but are like debating jumping into that. I mean, you got to really think about some of the things that we covered and put that in perspective. And if you're okay with all that after that, then cool, do you? You know what I'm saying?
Or just like not funny, man, but it's. I'm thinking of different cases. I mean, some cases are really not funny, but some are so funny. But like, there's been cases, where obviously the mom has OnlyFans, and then now when the kid gets older and they go to school, all their friends and all the people, they got their mom's OnlyFans and they talking shit. Like one kid, he got bullied so much to where he's committed suicide. from his mom OnlyFans. You know what I mean? So it's like that backlash you'll get, like you
It may
said,
not even affect you.
yeah,
It may affect your
you may
kids.
not be affected at all, but your kids is going through it through that school. You know what I mean? It was one little funny. I think it's so funny, like a meme. I can really see that happening, right? So it's like it's a table full of at the lunch table full of kids. Two kids are joking back and forth. You know what I mean? Oh, you know, they're joking. Everyone's laughing. And then the one kid looked at the one kid. He was just around stray guy, just laughed. He just called stray. He was like, "What you laughing at?" He's like, "Oh, don't your mom do OnlyFans?" Matter of fact, he went on Instagram. Oh yeah, I found it. Oh yeah, her subscription $5.99. You know what I mean? He started. You know what I mean? All the kids started laughing at him, and he's just like, looking like, yeah, that's cool. But it's funny, but it's fucked up at the same time, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of kids dealing with that, A lot of kids dealing with like their mom on OnlyFans, and it might be someone famous, and got the BBL, got the titties, and you know what I mean. So it draws a lot of attention, you know what I mean, to your kids too. So I wouldn't, I wouldn't want that for my son.
Yeah.
No, for a fact, I wouldn't want that for my
Yeah.
son. I can even if that was my son, right? If my girl was doing that, BM was doing that, my kid came up to me and was like, "Oh, I don't want to go to school because he keep bullying me." It'll be hard for me to force him to go to school. Like,
Yeah.
I feel that I never had to deal with that. I can only
Right.
imagine what these kids are saying. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to think about that. It's not just yourself. You know what I mean? Like, your family, your mom, your dad. You know what I mean? Like, they could be at work and one of the younger, oh, your daughter is, oh, so and so, oh yeah, like so.
Yeah, and I think, and I don't like this. Ain't even to attack no females that's doing it, because ultimately, I feel like society is to blame for the big part of, because just how they like I said before, they normalized everything, and they took away, like, the disdain for it, to where people don't even look at it the same, to where it's nothing. And that's, to me, that's all by design, because especially like for women in certain cultures, they glorify the BBLs and the ass and all that, just to take away you know any type of power or anything that you have, because like we said, it's a distraction. So if all you looked at is how fat that ass is, and you know what I'm saying, you can bust down and all that, then it's kind of like you already took yourself out the race of being like just a quality person, because you fell under the umbrella that society is trying to get. You know what I'm saying? It's just like us as black men. If we fall into the umbrella of scamming, thugging, you know what I'm saying, killing each other, then we fell right into the trap of the design. And I feel like that's part of the new design, is to get the women to, you know what I'm saying, like, give up their power in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Because that's something that's always been, like, sacred. That's been, that classifies them as wholesome or not.
Yeah.
And now the fact that they doing it for money, and there is no wholesomeness in that, then it's kind of like you've given yourself away. You know what I'm saying? Like we were saying, regardless how you change or whatever, try to bounce back at the end of that career, if that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like a female that's been on the blade for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
She can't just, you know what I'm saying, like change that image or change that persona.
She can't change you.
Right.
You can't change the person you are. You know what I mean? If you've been on the blade, you know what I mean? You've been on the blade for the last 20 years. Like, that's who you are. You know what I mean? And that's going to come out in your conversations. Like, when and like, I'm trying to make a point to where it's like, I'm not saying, oh, go come out to conversation to where it's like, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I used to be like, you don't ever have to say what you did. You know what I mean? Just like your level of comprehension of certain subjects I'm talking about, you're not going to be able to have a back and forth conversation with me about anything. You know what I mean? Because you don't, you know what I mean? You don't know nothing about sports. You know what I mean? That's what most guys like to talk about. You don't know nothing about politics. You on the blade. You know what I mean? You don't know. You know what I mean? You don't know nothing about nothing. Like, you know what I mean?
Your world has only went so far. And that's just like
and all the conversations you have, especially with most guys, are about sex. You're not having no. no guy is paying for your sex. Like, oh, how's your day going? Oh, how's it? Like, I don't care about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because most people like speak to their power in a sense, because it's like, you know, I feel like being a barber, we got powers in a lot of different areas.
Sure.
Because we can talk to politics, we can talk to sports, we can talk growth, we can talk entrepreneur, we can talk business, we can
If I'm not
talk.
mistaken, when
You
we
know
was
what I'm
in the
saying?
Blazing Phase, it was, I forgot what we was having. I think we was having the conversation about like school shootings. You know, it was like when, or either school shootings or some, I don't know what it was, but it was a great conversation we had in that shop that one day, just because the fact that not only was a good conversation about like we're talking about like what could we do or what should the government do, but just like you saying, like the type of people that are in there. You know what I mean? I'm a barber. You know, the guy that's in, and I'm saying school shooters, right? We're talking about school shooting. The person in my chair was a teacher. You know what I mean? The person across he was a politician. The person across the area, I mean, he worked for a bank.
Right.
The person over
Right.
here. So you have all these different people who are doing different things. We're talking about a subject and getting different opinions,
Right.
and it's telling different stories. While the like, you know, to prove a point, you might tell a story about something. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean. So I remember, not to get too much off track, but just about that. It was good, fam. Okay. Oh yeah. Want to finish later?
Like, you know, those type of conversations that we was having in the shop where, you know, we got all different people from all walks of life, you know, giving input, you know what I'm saying? How do you think that like that makes us more like, you know what I'm saying, well rounded than like you were saying before, somebody who's lived in a certain bubble of a world for so long that they can't really talk outside of the only thing that they know.
Because you get different perspectives from, you know, corporate America people, and you get perspective from like the entrepreneur. You know what I mean? You get perspective of people who are in law enforcement. You get perspective of people who are, you know, on the opposite side of law enforcement. You know, get people who, you know, all different types of white, different types of walks of life. You know, ethnicities, upbringings. You know, country background, like all that. You get all those different type of perspectives, so it makes you, um, you know, it just gives you a different perspective. You know what I mean? And you can't really go against somebody who has a perspective. Like, for example, like we were talking about, like we had all the groups of people in there. You know, you had like the police officer over here. You had you know what I mean, a guy who manager over here. You know, school teacher. You know what I mean? Different type. We were talking about the school shooters, like a school shooting. Like, what should we do?
Right.
And in my head, mind you, my client was a teacher. So I'm telling you, I'm like, oh, like I think, you know, like I think like it should be a couple teachers, designated teachers that have guns. You know what I mean? So if in case something happens, they can, you know what I mean? My client, who's a teacher, was like, hell no, that's not a good idea. I'm like, oh, how not? He was like, I now work with special needs kids, and those kids get into everything. They can find a way to, you know, there's no way to really control all that. You know what I mean? So he's like, having a gun inside of a classroom, that's the last thing you want. And that gave me a new perspective. I'm like, oh, I didn't really think about it like that. You know, I just thought, you know, a teacher should have it. So yeah, it gives you insight on different, you know, and reasoning, you know. So it gives you different insights and perspective on certain situations, or every situation really, you know, because you'll have somebody always has a different viewpoint than you. You know what I mean? And whether that's from their job, whether that's from their experience, whether that's from their upbringing, you know what I mean? Anything. So always going to have a different viewpoint from you.
Yeah.
Compared to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A girl in the streets.
No, yeah, that's different. That's definitely, you know, because you hear people say like perspective is reality. You know what I'm saying? That sometimes. So it's like, yeah, if their perspective only goes so far, if it's only centered around their lifestyle that they've kind of been consumed in, then yeah, I can easily, you know what I'm saying, agree with you when you say like eventually it's gonna come out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? What they know, what they don't know, it's gonna hit the surface, and you're gonna be able to read them pretty fast and be able to tell. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, you ask me like, what would I tell, you know, somebody on the fence about doing the OnlyFans, or you know, going into that realm of just being a content creator where all they doing is
Like
showing ass
what's
and
like
all
the
that.
long term negative effects that will happen. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not even that. Like we spoke on some of the negative effects, as far as like always wearing that jacket and not being able to get it from up under that. But like, what would be your advice? You know what I'm saying? Like, what would you tell a younger person or a younger lady that was thinking about doing that, thinking about going into that as a form of a business?
Uh, I mean, yeah, like we mentioned earlier, you just have to think about what that would look like 10 years from now, what that would look like 20 years from now. Like it's kind of the same thing. Like some of my younger clients, they always come in like, oh man, I want to get a tattoo, man. I want to get a sleeve. I want to get a sleeve. And they're 18, they're 17, 18, 19 years old. And that's kind of like the same thing I was trying to tell them. I was like, oh, it's not, no, yeah, you can get a sleeve, but you just have to think, man, 10 years from now, you know, there's going to be a lot of stuff in your life that happens. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of different things and opportunities that can happen and whatever. Your life goes how it goes. You know what I mean? So 10 years from now, what you think is cool, what you want may not be, you know what I mean, what you want 10 years from now. You know what I mean? That whatever tattoos you're thinking about getting 10 years from now, you're going to be like, damn, why I do that shit? And that's something you can't really take back. So the same thing with the OnlyFans. It's like, you can do it now. I'm going to make money with the woo. You know what I mean? 10 years from now, when you have a husband and you have kids and, let's say you hit the lotto, for 5 mil, like 2 weeks from now, you know what I mean? You're going to look back like, damn, why the fuck I do that shit? You did it for money.
Right,
You did it for a
right.
certain, but like now, and now you can't take that back from the internet. Your
It's
pussy,
already it's out there.
your titties is all out there for the Kim Kardashian. You know what I mean? She can't, as much money as she has,
She can't
you
delete
don't
those
think
videos
you
from
don't. I'm just
surfacing.
saying, as much money, I'm pretty sure all of them are billionaires. They have billions of dollars. You know what I mean? There's nothing she can do to take that image away from the internet and from, you know what I mean? If you want to look at her, if you want to look at Kim
You can go,
Kardashian
yeah,
naked
you
and
can
having
look it up
sex, you
right
can look
now.
it up right now. And that's something you can't take back. That's something that your daughter's gonna have to live with, your future kids gonna have to live with. They gonna, you know what I mean? Their future kids, like, oh, your grandma with Kim Kardashian? Oh, I can look. You know what I mean? You can't take that back. You know what I mean? So I would be careful of, what you do because, 10, 20, 30 years from now, they're going to be good. I don't think so. I don't think it's a positive uh, outcome from that. Long term, it's not a positive outcome.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
No, yeah,
guys ain't going to look at it. I feel like me and my buddy was having this conversation the other day too. It's like, when I was single, I was talking about like how certain girls, like one girl, she was like, oh yeah, like like, yeah, I may know a lot of guys, but I'm not messing with them. I'm not like fucking on none of them. Like like yeah, people know me, I don't, and that's why I told my homie, I was like, I don't personally, I don't want a girl like that, even on the scene, like.
right.
Even if you're not messing with nobody, I don't want a girl that's just on the scene and everyone knows, everyone can get in contact, everybody can see. You know what I mean? I want a girl on the scene. You know what I mean? Always at the club, always, they know this dude, they know that dude. They never did nothing, but they just know all these guys. It's like, nah, man. Like, I don't want you to, you know what I mean? I want my girl to be known by everybody.
Yeah, for
You know what I
sure.
mean? I remember uh, in this shop, it was one of my homies, his girl, one of my other clients, I remember he was talking about his girls. Oh yeah, she at the party with the dude. And I was like, oh, I was like, so and so. He's like, that his girl. He's like, oh yeah, you know her too. I'm like, oh yeah, I just like I know because of her. You know what I mean? But just the fact that two random dudes talking about, they weren't saying anything sexual or nothing. They just knew about her. You know what I mean? It's
Knew who
like
she was.
I want
Yeah,
my girl to be having a conversation inside of a barbershop. Two round. You know what I mean? 2, 3 dudes talking about your girls. Like I have all things to talk about. They talking about you. You know what I mean? Even though you may not have had any, sexual interaction with them, they still
right.
you're in the you're in the midst. You're in the mix of it. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing like let's say if your girl goes to a club and your girl goes to the club, she goes with her single homegirls, and your girl won't cheat. You know what I mean? You still don't want your girl to be in the mix with her
Oh
homegirls. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Her homegirls are single, so they're gonna be talking to niggas. You know what I mean? you as a homegirl, you're gonna be around them, you know what I mean? So you're gonna be in that mix with them, you know what I mean? It's like I don't want you to be in the mix with none of that, you know? Like
Yeah,
even for them dudes to know you know what I mean? I don't want them dudes like you know what I mean, even have a conversation with you. It's like,
yeah,
no,
and I
I'm cool.
think
Like,
that's a good point because I think with the whole OnlyFans is like they made that whole environment seem cool, seem appealing, seem kosher, and we all know like your circle speaks a lot about, you know what I'm saying, who you are. So I feel like those girls that are in that circle, you know, other people have made it look cool that came before them or whatever. So it's kind of like they made it seem inviting. So they're not even thinking about the stuff that you're saying. What about years down the line? What about, you know, if I have kids and all this other stuff that could affect, you know, not only me, but affect my kids. And I think that's just, that's a key point to take for any female that may be on the fence thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? Think past the moment when that sounds like a good idea. You know what I mean? Think outside of, you know, what everybody else is doing and try to find more of a purpose for your life than just, you know what I'm saying, selling yourself short and
but you
that.
know, I've well, I'm gonna tell. I guess let me tell my opinion, and then I'm gonna ask you your opinion. Like sometimes, how can I put it? Like I do feel like you said, like they're not thinking about it. But at the same time, I feel like, yeah, I mean, well, no, we talked about it earlier. It's like girls, like you do have somewhat of a moral compass in you that tells you that this ain't right. You know what I mean, right? Because, for example, right, one girl I was talking to her, cool, she was cool. I went on her Instagram. I noticed that she followed one of my homies. I didn't think nothing of it, you know, whatever. You know what I mean? The next time I went to her Instagram, you know, a couple days later, I went to her Instagram. That homie that she was following, she wasn't following him no more. So I'm like, oh, that now my eyebrows, you know, my curiosity starts to raise. I'm like, why, you know, why y'all stop following each other, whatever, or whoever, you know what I mean? So I hit up my homie. I'm like, oh, you know, so and so. He's like, oh, like, you know, who, like, I'm not sure. Send me a picture. I'm like, oh, like, you know, send her a picture on Instagram, like, you know, her. Like, oh yeah, man, yeah, she at the house, she was chilling with me, she was just getting on, you know what I mean? And so I'm just thinking, I'm like, for her, I had her Instagram. I didn't follow her yet. You know what I mean? So I seen that my homie was following you. And once I followed you, you realize that, oh dang, I slept with this guy. Now I'm trying to talk to me. You know what I mean? Now I'm a unfollow this guy. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? You know that, you know.
That ain't cool.
You know what I mean? So I'm just thinking like in that aspect, now it's like you doing OnlyFans and you putting yourself on the internet. It's like what makes you think that's gonna be cool? You know what I mean? It's like if you can mess with one guy, I know it's like, you know, a lot of guys can be turned off by that, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, what do you think? Like, you think, yeah, it's like they have to have somewhat of a, like you said, like a, like they have to somewhat think about that, right? You don't think, like, you think they 0% think about, like, don't think about it, or you just think that's
I
not, they
think
don't
they
care
don't
about it,
care.
or they
I
don't
think they
care,
don't
huh?
care.
They don't care,
They
huh?
don't care
Yeah,
about that. Like we was going back to saying where, you know, some females will say, well, at least I'm a good one, you know,
yeah,
and it's like, you really don't care. And not that, you know, we taught not to really care about what other people think, but at the end of the day, in the bigger scheme of life, it matters.
yeah,
You don't have to care to where you change what you do, but it matters because you're going to be judged based on your actions.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think, yeah, that definitely plays a part in the whole, you know, decision making and the choices that you choose for yourself. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But yeah, I mean, so what? Like, just in closing, like, you know, to kind of wrap up the topic, like, what do you say to somebody that's what do you say to somebody that's already doing that you know what I'm saying can possibly open their perspective to, I don't want to say change, but at least to hold themselves accountable for what comes with it. Because I think a lot of the women that may do it, they don't really hold themselves accountable to what comes with it because all they thinking about is the bag. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what would you? I don't know. Like, how would you relay that to them? Like, as far as like the accountability factor. You know what I'm saying? Because we talk about how it can affect different things, and you know, you may be judged a certain way, but it's like if they don't see that, then how would you bring it to their attention to where they hold themselves accountable for their actions? You know what I'm saying?
I think I know what you're saying. I just don't know if there's an answer for that. I ain't gonna lie. I don't know if there's an answer. 'Cause, I mean, it's like, how could you help somebody if they don't want to be helped? How could you try to
No,
show
yeah.
somebody something that they don't want to,
If they don't want to
see
see.
it? Like, shit, I don't know. Shit, you got, that's a higher power, man.
Right.
I pray to God or something about that.
Right.
I mean, or you gotta wait for your kid to get hurt or something, or you gotta wait for your kid to get teased at school or something like. I feel like something dramatic has to happen or
Has to
something
happen for them to
for
change.
you to snap out of it or something, or you know what I mean, to change. You know what I mean? Because I mean, for anything, you know, anybody, you know, not just a girl doing OnlyFans, but for a guy who's, you know, robbing people, you know what I mean, or doing crime, you know what I mean. How long is it going? Like, what is it going to take for you to be like, okay, I'm gonna stop trying to rob somebody. I'm gonna stop trying to do crimes. I'm gonna get a job. I'm gonna, you know. So what has to happen? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, something bad, I guess. You know what I mean? Nothing I can say at that point. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, if not accountable, then yeah, it's gonna bite you in the ass one day.
Yeah.
Gonna bite you in the ass one day, and by that time, it's
too late.
It's too late. It's too late. You're gonna be, you know, older. You're gonna be stuck in your ways. I mean, if you do have kids, they're gonna be gone out the house. You know, not gonna be around.
Yeah.
You're gonna be pretty much by yourself, man. And you're gonna have that mentality, like, to where, you know, when you do, if you ever do meet a, high value guy or whatever, you're not gonna have the conversation level. You're not gonna have the, you know what I mean, the conversation level. You're not gonna. It's not gonna be there. You know, you're not gonna have that connection with that dude. That dude is just gonna look at you like, my turn.
Yeah.
My turn. You know.
No, yeah, for sure.
Like I said, like, right, like, I'm pretty sure you know a lot of guys who wouldn't, like, wife up like a Kim Kardashian, right?
For sure.
Like, I wouldn't wife her up. Like, hell no.
For
you know
sure.
You've been too many. I don't think she had the only. I mean, well, she porn star. I mean, so yeah, man. Can't. You know what I mean? And like, it's a pride. You know what I mean? It's a pride thing. Like, you know, we're prideful. You know, like, I don't know if it's like prideful or, you know, like, yeah, like, you know, we don't want what's ours is ours, man. It's our charity. You know what I mean? It's ours.
Yeah.
All you know I mean? And I mean, I think I saw in the post one time. I don't want to offend no females, but in the hypothetical, I guess, since dude was saying, like, to a girl, he was like, so you mad when the guy treats you like his property, you know, like your like, you know, your girl, you're my property. She was like, oh yeah, I'm not property, you know what I mean? Which, you know, I somewhat agree, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, or pretty much agree, like, she's not property. But his point was just like, the first thing a man will defend is his property. Right. You know what I mean? If someone comes to try to, you know, break in his house, the first thing he'll do, he'll die for his property. You know what I mean? He'll get his shotgun and hold down the fort for his property. You see the LA fires, people was trying to save their property. Like, the fire is about to kill them. They still trying to save, desperately trying to save their property. So it's like, yeah, man, I'm not trying to say guys look at girls like property. You know what I mean? But it's
I
like,
understand what you're saying.
You know what I mean? For, you know, an analogy sense, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, I don't want you, you know what I mean? I don't want no fire to hit you. I don't want, you know, I don't want no flood to flood the house.
Trying to protect you.
I don't want no robber coming in here, and you know what I mean? Like, so I don't want you fucking with another dude. I don't want no you know what I mean? You're not gonna buy a house if it, you know what I mean? It's like a car, you know what I mean? Like, if it's been in a wreck 5 to 10 times and you try to sell it for 10,000, like, bro, I'm not buying this shit for 10,000. Just off the history. I mean, just off the history, you know what I mean? I think Kevin Samuels was saying that, like what asset do you know, like, depreciates over time or something, or appreciates over time? How do you word it?
Yeah, appreciates, like depreciates. If it's an asset, usually it appreciates over time. You know what I'm saying? Because it gains value over time.
Yeah.
When that's true, because I mean, you pretty much depreciating your value over time. You know what I'm saying? And like Jay was saying, a man is gonna, like, protect his, like, that's his prized possession. His woman is his prized possession. And if you put yourself in a position to where that man can't really speak on your behalf or protect you as his possession because of you've already put yourself under a certain microscope, then you can't really expect to get nobody to ever take you serious.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the best way to like sum it up. You know what I'm saying? Is for the women, like, you gotta understand, like, you're the prize. You know what I'm saying? And for the men who are looking for somebody, sustainable. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to say you're the prize, but you have to think like the prize and make yourself prize worthy,
Mm-hmm.
and not put yourself, in certain situations that will, depreciate your value over time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think
Like
that's
at a fair, like you don't be the prize where even if you lose, you still get it. You know what I mean? Be the prize like, I mean, I have to hit like 5 shots in a row to get the big teddy bear. You know what I mean? That's what the high value guys want. They want the high. They don't want the free teddy bear that everyone gets.
Right.
I don't feel special. You know what I mean?
They just passing out.
Like, you know what I mean? Win or lose, I still get a trophy. Like, no, I don't want that. You know what I mean? I want to work for this. You know what I mean? Like, knowing that it was hard to get, you know what I mean? No one else can get it. It's mine. You know what I mean? It's, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's another analogy you can kind of use to it. It's like doing that stuff. It's like you making yourself the free. It is, right? Pretty much. You know what I mean? Like it's a free. You know what I mean? Free prize. I want a free prize.
It's free to view and free to see for whoever was willing to pay for whatever they willing to pay for. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that's just not something that's appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so definitely, I think it was some, definitely some jewels dropped. You know what I'm saying, in this conversation, and just as a disclaimer, none of this was to offend anybody or nothing like that, because I mean, you are responsible for your choices. This was just more or less trying to get like some understanding, or trying to, you know what I'm saying, just elaborate on some of the reasons why. And, that goes back to society shaping things a certain way and normalizing stuff that at one point in time was kind of frowned upon. You know what I'm saying? And that in itself will lower your value, lower your self-value, lower your self-worth, just because you fall up under the umbrella of, of the things that society strategically does to lessen, you know what I'm saying? Lessen your worth. So,
and I got just another it was a streamer. His girlfriend, I don't know if they're still together, but his girlfriend used to be a porn star or something. And like I don't think she did no more. So they were at an event, a lot of streamers or YouTubers, whatever. I guess another streamer went to go show him, you know what I mean? So he took like a picture of his girl's porn, you know what I mean? And like, he was like, oh man, he autographed this for me. And she came out of nowhere, got mad. Oh, what? In my head, all I'm thinking was like, why are you mad? Like, everyone can see this. You know what I mean?
It was okay when you was doing it.
You're just mad that he has a piece of paper on, you know what I mean? And asking for, that's what it comes with. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like you can't get mad at somebody, like, that Mia Khalifa, you can't get mad at a dude coming up to you, while he don't know you're in the business, meaning he just knows that he's a fan of your porn, you know what I mean? Your porn shit. So he's asking for autograph, you get mad, and now his girl says some, sexually comment to you. Now you get mad, you get offended, you start crying. It's like you can't really get mad.
Yeah, and
it's up there.
That's where the disconnect.
It's up there.
That's where the disconnect is at.
The same thing. The same way you're famous for. The same way people come up to you for a porn star, you know what I mean? Ask for an autograph is the same way. If I was an NBA player, if I was LeBron James, I'm sitting with my family, you know what I mean?
Because that's what they know you as being famous for.
That's what they know you for, you know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure LeBron, you can't get mad at a fan coming up to you. So vice versa. It's like, and I'm pretty sure 30, 40, 50 years from now, LeBron will still have people coming up to him, even though he's been retired. You know what I mean? Same thing with the OnlyFans or with the famous porn stars. It's like, you're going to have, that's going to follow you around for life. You know what I mean? Even in rooms where you don't want that to be the topic, or, you know what I mean? You're on some other, that was like 3, 4, 5 business ventures, 23, you know what I mean? 2, 3 decades ago. You know what I mean? You still have people, so you can't really get mad. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't get mad at somebody asking for an autograph for me for barbering or me for doing the podcast. Like, that's what I did. Like,
For
I mean,
sure.
so yeah, which you make your bed, you're gonna lay in it, man.
And that's that's yeah, we're gonna sum it up with that. You make your bed, you lay in it. So understand the bed that you're making for yourself, what comes with it, how it's viewed, and try to connect with reality whenever you're making them type of choices. Because ladies, y'all hear ultimately how you will be viewed by the other sex at one point in time. You know what I'm saying? So you got anything else?
The only thing I was thinking about is just like when I was talking about LeBron James, like he's so famous years from now. But just think about his kids. You know what I mean? He's so famous that his kids are famous. You know
All
what I mean?
right.
So even his kids are going to have to deal with the fame that. But at least it's in a good light because his dad's a basketball player and he's famous and they play basketball. So it's not like a negative light on them. But if you're Kim Kardashian, like
Yeah.
that next generation is going to have to somewhat suffer. You know what I mean? In a way, So like you say, you make your bed. Not only you gonna lay in it, your kids are gonna lay in it. You know what I mean too. So
Yeah.
it's not just about you. You gotta think about the future, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. You know what I mean? And
Sure.
yeah.
For sure. Well, shit. There you have it, man. As always, like, comment, subscribe. I'm sure there's gonna be some lengthy comments on this one, especially if the women are tapping in. You're entitled to your opinion. This is just our opinion, and you know what I'm saying. Like we
Yeah,
always say,
please tell us your opinions if you got something to say. Anything bad, negative, constructive, like
right,
whatever, We don't take anything to heart. And I hope you don't take anything to heart either.
for sure,
We're not trying to bash anybody. It's just more so making things aware, you know what I mean?
for sure.
Especially like I said, the story with, the kid being teased so bad for his mom having
Killed
OnlyFans, he
yourself.
kid suicide. I'm pretty sure that's not the only kid, you know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean? That's
just
just
the
the one
one
I
we
read about. I'm
heard
pretty sure
about.
there's a whole lot of people like that, a whole lot of kids like that,
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah.
For sure, man. Well, shit, that's going to do it, man. Once again, thank y'all for tuning to the Real Ops Podcast, where the only opposition is in your mind, how you perceive things, and, ultimately, like, the choices that you choose to follow or, don't follow. So, like, comment, subscribe, man. Thank y'all for tuning to another episode. And as always, leave those comments below if you have a topic or something that you want to hear me and Jay go into. And we always take the comments as welcome and, like you said, constructive criticism. So thank y'all for tuning in. Until next time, y'all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're gonna see. We're gonna